Hi students and families. In this video, I will show you how to continue the diagnostic test and what to do once you have completed the diagnostic test. So remember, to get to IXL in the first place, you need to go to ixl.com/signin/Janier, and that way you can just type in the username and password and don't have to worry about the @Janier part at the end. So I'm going to log in as my student. And password is moments2 for all the students. Okay, remember we go up to the green bar where it says diagnostic. Now this student has already started working in the diagnostic arena. So now we have some data in there. So I want to show you what this means and explain to you how to find different skills and how to progress in the arena. So I have not completely finished the diagnostic for the student. That is why it says step into the arena at the top, because I could continue diagnosing the student. But there's enough data in here to give me some recommended skills. And so as you can see, we'll start with math. There's all these different lines and some numbers, and it's all kind of confusing. So we'll start right here. Sorry, English is hard sometimes. We'll start right here, where our overall math level is listed. So right now the student has not diagnosed enough, so it's just a range. So it says 80 to 210. So that means that their overall math level is somewhere between end of kindergarten and beginning of second grade. But the student would have to continue diagnosing to have a more solid level, since that is kind of a big range. If we look in each individual area of the math section that it diagnoses, you have numbers and operation, algebra and algebraic thinking, fractions, geometry, measurement, data, statistics, and probability. So let's do fractions, for example. This level is not complete, so that's why it's a range of numbers. It says 260 to 360. So I'm somewhere between the middle of second grade and the middle of third grade, but it's not completely diagnosed, so that's why it's still a range. Under it, it lists 2 recommended skills. So if I use this drop down, it gives me an example of one I could work on, and I could go try it. But there's also the list of them here. So I could view all, and it would list them for me. Here are my 2, then it wants me to try, or if I go back, I could just go to the next one and it'll give me a preview and I could try it. Okay, so some of them, so like geometry, for example, doesn't have any. It says keep diagnosing to reveal your score. So this student has not diagnosed enough for it even to have skills yet for them to practice. So coming down to language arts, there are only 4 areas that it tests in language arts. So starting down here, the overall language arts level for this student so far is 90 to 170. So that means it's somewhere between the end of kindergarten and the middle of first grade, sorry. And it's a little bit smaller of a gap, but they are still diagnosing, so that's why it's still a range. But the overall reading level, based on the skills that the student has already completed, does give us a score. So their overall reading level is 80, which is somewhere close to the end of kindergarten. So as you can see on this graph, there's 1 with a line and then 2 with stars, and then there's nothing with writing strategies yet. The no color here means that this student hasn't done the diagnostic test enough for even to have a guess of where the writing strategies level is. The line means that it's still diagnosing. So there's a range. The student is probably somewhere in this area. We can see 70 to 180. So somewhere between end of kindergarten and the middle of first grade, but not an exact spot yet. The stars mean that this is currently the level. So vocabulary is 260, which is somewhere in the middle of second grade, but the reading strategies is at the middle of kindergarten. So it lists some strategy or some skills. Then it would have this student work on. So the student could try this one, this skill, or this one, and those are the 3 it recommends right now. They could do that one, or they could go to vocabulary. It only lists this recommendation, so this would be the one that they would choose. Okay, so they would continue diagnosing since not all of these are stars. When all of these are stars, and all of these are stars, then the only thing left to do is continue these recommendations. We will worry about the recommendations later once we get farther into RTI, but for now, we're just stepping into the arena. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information as to what these numbers mean and what these graphs mean, so that way you know where your child is at in these areas. One thing I also want to touch on is if, for example, you hit view all, so the reading strategies gives me 3 recommendations, but I want to view all and pick one of them. It takes you to the recommendations tab, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing. There are lists and lists and lists of recommendations, and there are some with a blue outline and some with no outline at all. The blue outline is the recommended skills for the reading strategy that we just clicked on. So if I do the vocabulary skills, then it should highlight it in green, like it does right here, and then some that are not highlighted, depending on what skill you're working on, will be a different color. But the highlighted ones are the ones that the diagnostic test recommends. The other ones are ones that the teachers have starred, but they're also ones that might be helpful from the diagnostic arena. So as you can see, this one says from diagnostic arena, diagnostic arena. We don't have much starred in the second grade class stuff yet, so that's why these are all from the arena. But if you are working on a specific section of either math or reading, so like let's say, we'll go back down to reading. Let's say I really want to build up this reading strategy, and that's what I want to focus on. So it is blue or purple, and so I am going to go to the recommendation wall and do all of the ones that are purple. So I'm going to skip all of these that aren't highlighted. These are my ones I am focusing on. So I hope that makes this recommendation wall a little clearer, as it gets kind of confusing with the highlighting and non-highlighting. But as long as you can remember those colors, and that's what you're looking for on this recommendations page, then it shouldn't be as complicated. So I hope these videos have given you a little bit of reassurance and understanding of what is happening in IXL. Let your teacher know if you have any further questions.